I will now call to order the regular meeting of the Shell Rock River Watershed District for December 13th, 2022. Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bakken?
Here.
Manager Pistorius?
Here.
Manager Kramer?
Here.
Manager Pasuski?
Here.
Manager Delger?
Here. Item number 2, the following 2 agenda items are public hearings. All comments by proponents, or the public shall be made from the podium. Please first give your name and address. This is required because of an official record of the public hearing is being made. Please note, comments are limited to 3 minutes. These rules are intended to promote an orderly system of holding a public hearing, to give every person an opportunity to be heard, and to ensure that no individual is embarrassed by exercising the individual's right of free speech. It is not necessary to be a proponent or an opponent in order to speak. If you consider yourself neither a proponent nor an opponent, please speak during the proponent portion and identify yourself as neither a proponent or an opponent. No comment shall be made from any other location, and anyone making out of order comments may be subject to removal from the meeting. There will be no demonstration during or at the conclusion of anyone's presentation. Now opening the public hearing for the change of principal place of business for the Shell Rock River Watershed District. Would anyone like to speak? Second time, anyone like to speak? Third and last, would anyone like to speak? Hearing none, public hearing is now closed. Now opening the public hearing for the Belshon Restoration Project. Would anyone like to speak? Second time, would anyone like to speak? Third and last, would anyone like to speak? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. Item number 4, the public forum. Would anyone from the public like to speak on any other topics? Hearing none, we'll go to the consent agenda. The following items will be acted upon without discussion in accordance with the staff recommendation and associated documents unless a manager requests opportunity for discussion. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? So moved. Made by Manager Kramer. Is there a second? Second. Made by Manager Pistorius. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bakken?
Aye.
Manager Pistorius?
Aye.
Manager Kramer?
Aye.
Manager Pasuski?
Aye.
Manager Delger?
Aye. Number 6, approval of agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions that need to be made to the rest of the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I have 1 addition and 1 correction for the agenda. The correction is for item 7H. That motion should read motion to pay with cash for 305 South First Avenue building. And then the addition is going to be item item 8H, and that's a LSOHC update.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda with deletion? Made by Manager Pistorius. Do I have a second? Second. By Manager Pasuski. Any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bakken?
Aye.
Manager Pistorius?
Aye.
Manager Kramer?
Aye.
Manager Pasuski?
Aye.
Manager Delger?
Aye. Item number 7. Andy Henshaw.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The first item again is resolution 2022-13, approval of the change of principal place of business. Again, this is statutes that we are following with the office move to this location at 305 South First Avenue. So with that, I will have Leah read the resolution.
Resolution 2022-13. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to the water related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the district is charged with implementing the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan. Whereas the principal place of business the district was leasing at 214 West Main Street, Albert Lea, Minnesota, was destroyed by flash flooding on July 5th, 2022. Whereas the district was displaced and relocated to 305 First Avenue South, Albert Lea, Freeborn County, Minnesota, 56007, on or about July 26, 2022, and have remained in a month-to-month lease for the new office space. Whereas Minnesota statute 103D.321 provides the process for changing a watershed principal place of business. Whereas pursuant to Minnesota statute 103D.321, the District of Board of Managers by resolution 2022-12 dated November 8th, 2022, initiated a change of the principal place of business for the district to 305 First Avenue South, Albert Lea, Freeborn County, Minnesota, 56007. Whereas the district is located entirely in Freeborn County, Minnesota. Whereas the proposed new principal place of business is located within the watershed district boundaries. Whereas the district provided notice of the public hearing on the intended updated principal place of business as noted in the publication on November 8th, 2022, at least 10 days prior to the public hearing. Whereas the district provided notice by direct mail to the Freeborn County Auditor's Office via US mail and electronic mail on November 8th, 2022, at least 10 days prior to the hearing of the intent to update the principal place of business. Whereas the district conducted a public hearing on the proposed change to the principal place of business on December 13th, 2022. Whereas the district has considered comments on the proposed change of principal place of business. Now therefore, consistent with applicable law and in furtherance of the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan, be it hereby resolved, the district hereby changes its principal place of business to 305 First Avenue South, Albert Lea, Freeborn County, Minnesota, 56007, effective today's date. District staff, in compliance with applicable laws, shall take all necessary action to change the principal place of business to 305 First Avenue South, Albert Lea, Freeborn County, Minnesota, 56007, including notification to the Minnesota Secretary of State, the Minnesota Board of Water and Soil Resources, and the Freeborn County Auditor, dated this the 13th day of December 2022.
Is there a motion to introduce the resolution 2022-13?
So moved.
Made by Manager Kramer. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Pasuski. Any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bachmann,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, resolution passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 7B is a motion to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendations effective January 1st, 2023. Excuse me, that will go into effect in January 1st, 2023. So the Personnel Committee met for looking at the COLA increase or cost of living increase. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve the Personnel Committee recommendations that was held on November 29th, 2022. And once that is established, we'll have this discussion.
Is there a motion to approve? So moved by Manager Bachmann. Do I have a second? Manager by Manager Pasuski. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll go a little bit through the Personnel Committee notes. Again, we met at 9:05 on November 29th. Those present were managers Delger, Kramer, and Hanson, and I was also present at the meeting. I gave the board managers an update on previous COLAs that the district staff has received, as well as the other government entities within Freeborn County. So the recommendation that came from the Personnel Committee is a 3.5% cost of living increase. And that was signed by all three of the managers present at the Personnel Committee.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bachmann,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item C is a motion to approve the 2023 administrative levy and certify the administrative levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. Again, the administrative levy is $250,000, and that has been the same since the district was established in 2003.
Is there a motion to approve? By Manager Pistorius, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Pursuski, any discussion?
One question, at one time, there was an insurance levy that's coming out, maybe I missed that.
I mean,
Oh, sorry.
nope, you're good.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Lee, please call roll.
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item D is a motion to approve the 2023 debt service levy and certify the debt service levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. So the debt service levy for 2023 is $178,625.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made by Manager Kramer, do I have a second?
Second.
Made by Manager Pistorius, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Lee, please call roll.
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item E is a motion to approve the 2023 liability insurance levy certifying the liability levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. This was new in 2022. Again, trying to take some of the relief off of the admin budget and looking at paying the liability insurance that the district pays through the liability insurance fund levy. That is set at $17,550.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Manager Pursuski, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Kramer, is there any discussion? One of the things that I was kind of curious and is that I looked at, proposed taxes for Freeborn County for this next year, and the watershed went down. What's the reason for that?
Usually because evaluations go up, so then it spreads it out and goes down a little bit between everybody.
Perfect. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 7F is a motion to approve the 2023 admin budget. Again, this budget has not changed from when we reviewed it in September. So the total budget for the administration fund is $267,550.00.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Manager Kramer, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Pursuski, any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 7G is a motion to approve the 2023 project fund budget. Again, the project fund budget has not changed from our September meeting. If you look at our project fund budget, we have a total of $7,106,925 in the project fund budget.
Is there a motion to approve? By Manager Bakken, do I have a second? Second. By Manager Pistorius, to these. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Mr. Chair. Item 7H, this is the agenda item that we had a correction to. Originally, we were looking at some temporary financing for the purchase of the building at 305 South First Street, or First Avenue, excuse me. After working with Carmen and going through the budget, we believe we are comfortable with cash on hand that we have to purchase it. And this will then mean that we do not have to pay any interest fees, because we all know interest fees have gone up. Also, if we were to move with the loan process, there's the appraisal and environmental reviews, that all cost money as well. So again, I think in the long term, we're gonna save ourselves, and we believe that we have plenty of money in the budget to move forward with a cash purchase of the building.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second by Manager Pasuski. Any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Deldrick.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 7I is a MOD annual conference update. This was held the first week in November. Those who attended were Courtney, Carmen, myself, as far as staff, as far as managers, Manager Kramer and Manager Bakken attended. One thing to note, thanks to Manager Kramer, he now sits on the MOD board. He was elected at the regional caucus to sit on the MOD board. So now we have a representative from the Charlotte Watershed District that sits on the MOD board. So thanks, Brad, for that dedication and all the good work you'll do on that board.
Thank you. And one note quick was I just found out this this morning they were putting the committees together. So I'll be on the education and events committee for sure. A few more I expressed interest in, and if they don't feel like they'll add me to those as well. So I'll have a voice in some of those events.
Again, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Other than that, it was a good conference. We had really good turnout. It was the first time we met in person in 3 years practically. So I think the turnout was good. And a lot of good things are happening. I know they adopted a new strategic plan. So we're looking at updating the strategic plan for MOD. And with that, we'll be looking at maybe changing up our legislative process or our lobbying process in our legislative agendas. So I think all those are good steps forward and really trying to be more proactive as MOD instead of reactive. I know some of the big issues right now that they're working on are drainage issues. DNR is looking at submitting a new bill that could affect some drainage projects and actually increase timelines, which then increase costs. So I know MOD's working on working with the statewide drainage group, which is a group that also is not in favor of this statute change by DNR. And the last word we had is that DNR will not be submitting that legislative statute change. So we'll keep you up to date on that one as that one moves forward. But again, a pretty good annual meeting was held. Any questions, other questions or comments on the annual meeting? I know Al, you attended along with Brad, so if there's any other questions? Comments? All right, hearing none, move on to item J, legislative update. Again, working with our lobbyists to draft our new bill for the bonding project. I have been in touch with Peggy Bennett and she's already getting ready to author that bill and submit it. We are waiting on some cost estimates. I have reached out to Brennan just to look at what the percentage of inflationary costs have been towards dredging projects so that we can add that to it and we don't fall short. If we do get funding and we put it out for bid, and all of a sudden we're $1 million short. So I want to make sure we're pretty solid with our numbers that are going to be drafted in that bill. So again, I think it's a good step forward that we're already working on it. I've already had good contact again with Peggy on moving that bill forward. So full steam ahead on pursuing bonding for 2023. Also, just to note, we were competing against the city of Overly last year with the wastewater treatment plant. I don't believe we'll have to compete with them this year. They are top of the list for the PFA money or public facility funds, which comes out of a different pot of money. So if it don't look like we have to compete with them per se on actual bonding dollars, because PFA funds come out of a different pot. And again, they are top of the list within the state of Minnesota. So that was good news when we heard that. Any questions on legislative updates?
Minnesota has quite a surplus.
Yes, they do. And we'll see how they handle that surplus, but hopefully a lot of it will go back into bonding projects from general fund instead of actual bonding dollars, but until the governor comes out with his draft of the bonding bill, we don't know what's
in this cost analysis, where do we stand on that? I wouldn't think we need to propose that you're gonna need another.
correct. I don't believe so either. Again, I think once we find out in June right away, I'm already working with Brennan to look at, cleaning out some of the sediment we have in our original ponds and relocate that on the property that we own. That will give us enough space to keep the 3 ponds we have and keep them active within the dredge project.
That would be quite a saving.
Yes, and we kind of already built that savings in the original dredge. So again, that's the cost we're looking at to just see what that might take or look like with the inflation for the dredge project itself and for the removal of existing material within our ponds.
Mhm.
So yes, we do not want to build another. Let's see.
No.
So.
Good.
All right, last item I have is item K, mod summer tour discussion. So I volunteered the Shell River Watershed District to host the summer tour here in June of 2023. So it'll be on June 20th, 21 and 22, which is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We just set the date yesterday, so we're still working on more details for that. But if you remember, the last time we held summer tour was in 2009 for mod. This time I'm trying to also work in the Cedar and the Turtle Creek, so we'll have 3 watershed districts within the tour. I think it's also special for our watershed district because this will be our 20th anniversary of the establishment of the Shell Rock River Watershed District. So we also have that to look forward to here in 2023 for the district being around for 20 years. So right away, just if you guys can keep those dates open, again, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. June 21st or 20th is kind of the meet and greet. That's where we'll have a dinner. More than likely, that's going to be at Wedgewood. We got to find enough seating for the size of the event we're going to have. So we've been working on that as well. We do have a block of hotel rooms set aside, and we already have contacted, Leah has contacted both the hotel and the bus company because we also do tours to the projects within the watershed. And this one will have probably projects within Turtle Creek and the Cedar River as well. So it'll be a good overall view of Southern Minnesota watershed districts. So good news, I think it brings people to our area, lets them see what we have been doing. The recommendation actually, I was sitting in our MAWA meeting, which is the Minnesota Association of Watershed District Administrators, and the manager, and I can't remember his name right offhand, that sits in on the MAWA meeting from MAUD, also sits on the Bowser board, and he said, well, why not go back to Shell Rock? Because they had all these grand plans when we were down there in 2009. And I sort of thought about that. I'm like, yeah, we did have grand plans, and we've actually implemented and been very successful in a lot of those plans. So That's kind of where the idea came from, and I think it'll be a really good event for us. Really show off what we've been doing as far as a watershed. So,
Very good. Very good. Anything else?
Mr. Chair, that is all I have.
We have. With that, we'll go to item 8, project and program manager, Courtney Phillips.
Thank you. Item A, B, and C are all referring to the Belshon Restoration Project, and that is the property that we purchased using Lassard Sam's funding, phase 7. And it is a property that's located off Lincoln Avenue and County Road 17. It's east of Pickerel Lake. The goals for that project are for native planting and then wetland restoration. And so we are going to be working on the wetland restoration work, and that's why we have the initiate project plan approval and establishment. So there is a first, I will read the resolution for initiating the project.
Is there a motion to introduce resolution 2022-14?
So move.
By Manager Pasuski, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Kramer, any discussion? Would you please read the resolution first?
Yep. Resolution 2022-14 Belshon Restoration Project, initiate project 2022-01. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to the water-related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District is charged with implementing the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan. Whereas the goals and objectives set forth in the plan include improve water quality and clarity to district lakes, improve and enhance waterfowl habitat, maintain efficient systems and reduce transport of sediment, nutrients, and pesticides into surface waters through the drainage systems, minimize flood damage to property and preserve the function of the floodplain, restore and retain water upstream throughout the watershed, preserve existing rural and urban wetlands, and encourage restoration and enhancement. Whereas the district has pursued a comprehensive watershed approach to reduce sedimentation and improve water quality, including filter strips, rock inlets, nutrient management systems, water and sediment basin installations, rough fish management practices, installation of fish barriers, septic system inspections, stream bank and ditch restoration projects, and the installation of rain gardens. Therefore, be it hereby resolved, the Shell Rock River Watershed District initiates project number 2022-01 Belshon Restoration Project, authorizes district staff to negotiate appropriate professional service agreements to promote and complete the Belshon Restoration Project efforts. And section 3 authorizes district staff to conduct work as needed to present this project to the board for review and public hearing as required by law, dated December 13th, 2022.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Manager Buchan,
Aye.
Manager Pistorius,
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delter.
Aye, resolution passes.
Thank you. The next item is the project plan approval, and you can see that the project plan is included in your board packet. Project plans were drafted by Jones Hogan Smith. I would say they're probably at 90 to 95% complete project plans. We're going to look and see how much more money we have in the budget if we can essentially create more wetland scrapes and create the wetland areas larger. So we're looking at that. Otherwise, we don't see any drastic changes to the project plan. We do want to get this completed by June of next year so that we can use up our phase 7 funding. But if there is any large changes to the plan, we will bring them back before the board for approval.
Is there a motion to introduce resolution 2022-15?
So moved.
By Manager Kramer, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Pasuski, any discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
You want me to read the
Oh,
resolution?
yes, I get it.
Okay. Resolution 2022-15, plan approval, Belshon Restoration Project. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to the water-related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District is charged with implementing the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan. Whereas project goals and objectives set forth in the plan include improve water quality and clarity to district lakes, and improve and enhance waterfowl habitat, maintain efficient systems and reduce transport of sediment, nutrients, and pesticides into surface water through the drainage systems, minimize flood damage to property and preserve the function of the floodplain, restore and retain water upstream throughout the watershed, preserve existing rural and urban wetlands, and encourage restoration and enhancement. Whereas the Belshon Restoration Project 2022-01 was initiated on December 13th, 2022 by resolution 2022-14. Whereas the Board of Managers, having reviewed the project plan and has determined the approval of the project plan will further the objectives of the plan. Whereas the district has pursued a comprehensive watershed approach to reduce sedimentation, improve water quality, including filter strips, rock inlets, nutrient management systems, water and sediment basin installations, rough fish management practices, installation of fish barriers, septic system inspections, stream bank and ditch restoration projects, and the installation of rain gardens. Therefore, the Board of Managers hereby finds that the project has the potential to promote the public interest and welfare, is practicable, and conforms to the watershed management plan as set forth above. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Shell Rock River Watershed District approves the Belshon Restoration Project as presented by Jones Hog Smith and authorizes district staff to conduct work as needed to present this project to the board for final review and public hearing as required by law, dated December 13th, 2022.
Now, is there any discussion?
Other than, like to be on the record, there's some community tile that passes through the property through different spots, so I'd like to make sure they're protected.
Yes, it is part of the project plan that we are going to be taking that tile and running it through the property. We are looking at making it non-perf tile that runs through the property so that the water that falls on the Belshon property stays, but the upstream landowners still have their drainage. Right now, it's not perforated tile.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will you please follow?
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delter.
Aye. Resolution 2022-15 passes.
Thank you. Next is item C, resolution 2022-16 Belshon Restoration Project Establishment. So
We are looking to introduce resolution 2022-16. Manager Kramer, do I have a second?
Second.
Manager Pasuski. Would you please read the resolution?
yes. Resolution 2022-16 project, established project 2022-01 Belshon Restoration Project. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to the water related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District is charged with implementing the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan. Whereas the Belshon Restoration Project 2022-01 was initiated on December 13th, 2022 by resolution 2022-14. Whereas the Board of Managers, having reviewed the project plan and has determined that approval of the project plan will further the objectives of the plan. Whereas the project plan was forwarded to the Board of Water and Soil Resources and Department of Natural Resources for their review and comment. All their comments were received by letter dated 12/9/2022, and DNR comments were received on 11/21/2022. Whereas on December 13th, 2022, by resolution 2022-15, the Board of Managers approved the specifications for the project. Whereas a public hearing was held on December 13th, 2022 to review the project plan. Therefore, the Board of Managers hereby finds that the proposed Belshon Restoration Project has the ability to promote the public interest and welfare in conformity with the watershed management plan as set forth above. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that the Shell Rock River Watershed District hereby establishes project 2022-01 Belshon Restoration Project, authorizes district staff to complete the project as set forth in the final project plan, and authorizes the district staff to obtain quotes, request for approvals, and enter into any other agreements or contracts necessary to complete the project. Dated December 13th, 2022.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Delter.
Aye. Resolution 2022-16 passes.
Thank you. Item D is a motion to rescind a motion that we had from our last meeting, which awarded our contractors for the Miller and Ore track. What happened was we put the quotes out in 3 different packages. Leland was low for 2 and 3, and Kruger Excavating was low for 1. After they heard the results, they actually favored doing the opposites work. And they wanted to do the opposites work, and they were willing to honor the prices that the other had submitted. And so there is a recommendation update from our engineer that kind of describes this in your agenda packet. But essentially what we're going to do is item D is going to rescind the motion, and then item E is going to award the new contractors for the quote packages.
Okay. Is there a motion to rescind the motion for November 8th, 22.
So moved.
By Manager Blackton, do I have a second?
Second.
Manager Kramer, is there any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Buckman,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Besuski,
Aye.
Manager Delter.
Aye, carried.
Thank you. So item E is a motion to award the contractors for the Miller Track IC&E wetland enhancement and or wetland restoration to Leland Drainage and Excavating for quote package 1 and Kruger Excavation for quote packages 2 and 3.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? And then
Second.
by Manager Kramer, is there any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Buckman,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Besuski,
Aye.
Manager Delter.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. And they do plan on getting started probably this afternoon. So they're out and ready and I'm hoping to beat some of the weather that comes here. Item F is a motion to approve engineering services with ISG. The engineering proposal was included in the packet. What they are planning on doing is the construction staking and construction oversight for the quote packages 1, 2, and 3 for helping to oversee construction. As also part of this project, they're going to be doing tile televising. This involves the public drainage system. And so we kind of create almost like an as-built of when it's installed so that we can send that to the county so that we know it's functioning and installed correctly. And they are also going to be working on the engineering and design for quote package 4, which is the public tile reroutes that go through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife property. And so that is an engineering agreement of $28,200.
Is there a motion to approve engineering services with ISP?
So moved.
Made by Manager Kramer, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Besuski, is there any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Buckman,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Besuski,
Aye.
Manager Delter.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. Item D is the Bowser update. This Bowser update is referring to our comprehensive watershed management plan, or what we refer to as our one watershed, one plan. We are looking to receive $322,128 as a result of our comprehensive watershed plan funding. The reason why we were bringing this before the board is because we are the fiscal agent of that money, and I had to submit an application to Bowser as a funding request for that $322,000. You can see the item breakdown that we are looking at spending at. A lot of it is going to cover crop incentives and trainings, as well as waterway sealing, septic upgrades. We also have helping to purchase street sweeping equipment for the city of Albert Lee and doing some rain garden installations. So that was submitted 2 weeks ago or so. We have to submit it to Bowser. They approve our work plan, and then we get the funds following that. So we're looking to get probably funds sometime in January that we can start spending. And it's a 2-year timeline for the funding.
Perfect.
Yep.
Really good.
That is just an update. And the last item I have is a Lessard Sam's update. I originally came to the board and said that we were awarded $1,933,000 for our phase 12 application. However, with the increase of the budget, they increased our proposals by 10%. So now it's looking like we're going to get around $2,139,000. So we did meet that $2 million mark. So
Perfect.
yeah, it's pretty exciting. So they get a November's budget forecast, and they do another one in February. So it could potentially change, but right now it's looking like that 2.1 million, a little over. So
Great. Great job.
that's all that I have.
Okay. Item number 9 is, are there any manager items?
Well, I'd like to just bring a little update, Courtney and Andy and myself at the mod convention. We talked to a few people about stormwater ponds and stuff along highways and freeways. And I wasn't really well prepared last month, but what I'm understanding is that when they do new construction like Highway 14 across southern Minnesota, that they incorporate the stormwater ponds as they do it in the design and the acquisition of the property and a few things. So So when it comes to freeways, like I-35 or I-90, they really don't get reconstructed, they get repaved. But the issue never gets addressed is the way I'm looking at it, but. So I'd like to see that happen, in the future. That they get addressed, stormwater from the highways. It's a big part of Freeborn County when you got two freeways going through it, so. Be open to further discussion later, I guess.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I mean, they need to do something with that. You know, Iowa's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And I think we just gotta catch up and stormwater is a big deal. So good that you started it anyway.
Thank you.
Any other manager items? Okay, upcoming meetings, I guess the only we got here is our next meeting is January 10th, 2023. That, if there's no more discussion on anything, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Manager Kramer. Second by Manager Lister. Leah, please call the roll.
Manager Backen,
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Besuski,
All right.
Manager Dalton.
Aye, we are adjourned.